everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie. This is going to be the Booktube Oldie tag. Okay, so I was not going to do this tag initially. I felt that I would come off a little more ranty than all of the other sort of people that are doing this tag. This is more, it's not really a tag per se, it's more of a discussion video because there's 7 questions. We're talking about how long we've been on Booktube or in the community and things like that, and they are some thoughtful questions. Others that I have seen do this tag do what is sort of expected. They do the whole positive nature of it and oh, it's so great and da 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 for each of the questions and give all these positives. Well, that's not the kind of video that you guys are going to get here. I'm going to give you guys the straight up truth like I always do, which is very interesting in that that is sort of the video on my channel per se that gets the most sort of views. If I come off very ranty, very in my feelings, those are the videos that end up getting the most views, surprisingly, which is very interesting. So let's just get into these questions and like start the discussion, right? So if I don't plan on calling anybody out, if you felt like you got called out in this video, then you might want to get a mirror and reflect upon the things that you are doing. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and spill any tea, but I'll be very real with y'all. Real, like straight up real. So this was by the way, this was created by Monica Kim. No clue who she is, didn't know who she was until this tag started to go around, and my good book friend Bree encouraged me to be my real self like I always am, and you know, really give answers that aren't the canned standard answers for this video or these type of questions. But I will leave that original video down there in the description box as well as all the questions, so if you feel like you want to answer them, feel free. There we go. So question number 1 is, how long have you been part of the Booktube community? I have been part of the Booktube community since July. I believe it's July. Yes, July of 2015. So I've been here almost 5 years. Has it been a long 5 years? Oh yes, very much so. Such a long 5 years. And I didn't even like get to the community because I started watching YouTube and things like that. I came to the community because I was at work and I was able to read books during my commute to work, and I would want people to talk about them. Well, there were a couple millennials that I worked with that were like, we don't want to hear about the books that you're reading, or why don't you try YouTube and check out there's a community that, and I don't even think it was called Booktube like 5 years ago. Everybody's like, oh, it was called Booktube 5 years. No, I don't believe it was. And if it was, then you know, okay. But they were like, there are people on YouTube talking about books, and I was like, okay. So there were popular books that were being talked about: Twilight, Cassandra Clare's books, Sarah J. Maas's books, things like that. And I was like, that's not really where I want to go. What I want to talk about or what I'm reading, nothing really was similar to the things that I was reading. But I went ahead and was like, oh, okay, there are people watching videos on YouTube where they talk about books. You know what? They don't want to hear about it at work, so I'm gonna go ahead and start making videos and talk about the romance books that I am reading. Let's do that. Yes. So that is how I ended up starting. I started off in my bed upstairs, and I had no books. I had no background. My aesthetic was horrible. I did do a little bit of research into how to make your videos, you know, brighter. I went off of the initial sort of take of not doing any editing, wanting to be very raw and very real and very unproduced, and didn't do very much editing. I edited the beginning of the video and then I edited the end of the video, and that was it. In the beginning, those videos are still out. No, actually I don't think they are. I think I have a few. All my playlists have different videos in there and stuff like that. Even if I have unpublished them, if they are in the playlist, then you can still go watch them. I know my first review videos are still up in those playlists, and they are very cringeworthy. I have no clue what I was doing. Question number 2 is, what was my biggest misconception before starting Booktube? I guess I could say a misconception was that people actually wanted to hear about romance. Yes, I just broke your neck. I'm sure I did. You just got a head flash and was like, what? People didn't want to hear about romance? People wanting to hear about romance is a very new thing here in the Booktube community, because Booktubers back in 2015 were 15, 16, 17, early 20s years old. So 5 years ago, I was way older. I was like 35, 36 years old. So nobody was wanting to listen to this old person talking about romance, right? Yes. So that was a huge misconception, that I could just come on and be like, oh, these are the romances that I'm talking about and you guys want to listen to it. I had like zero following. But at the same time, I think that allowed me to sort of hone in on my video making skills and my setup, hence all of the amazingness that I have, my bookshelves and things like that, which you don't have to have. You don't have to have bookshelves. That's a misconception. And that, you know, it drove me to get bookshelves because I was meeting all these authors. I've met every single one of the authors for the books that I have back here, with the exception of E.L. James, which is right there. I have 50 Shades. I haven't met her. She's the only one that I have not met, that I have signed books for, but I haven't met her. But all the rest of those, all 4 of those, and then like a bookshelf here, a bookshelf there, and a bookshelf there, I have books that have signatures on them. So I really started to like get into the community and get into the independent romance community, which was amazing. So the misconception was that I had to read young adult, which I didn't. I didn't at all. I didn't buy into it. But that is a misconception. Question number 3, I guess I answered that one. Number 3 is, how do you think Booktube has changed since I first started? All the youngsters are growing up and now they want to read romance. That's how it's changed. That is how it's changed. Romance has been the tops of the tops of the tops of genre in books and things like that forever and a day. They are the moneymakers in the book world. Don't get it twisted that young adult and middle grade and yeah, I said young adult already. That mysteries and thrillers and things like that are the tops in the book community, because they're not. They're not. Romance brings in the bank. Romance brings in the bank. And a lot of people are now opening their eyes and getting rid of that supposed shame of reading romance, because it's more mainstream, because it's becoming more acceptable, because those youngsters are now growing up and allowing their brains to go ahead and, you know, allow in something different. Now, the one thing I will say is that romance has taken this turn into being somewhat of a social social justice kind of platform as well, which is very annoying to me. It bothers me to no end. I got into reading romance because I loved a story between a couple, or a menage, or a throuple, or, you know, all these different sort of places that can happen in a relationship. That was my main thing. I was a diehard. As long as there was a relationship in the story, it was a romance, I was here for it, and I was okay with it. I've now come to the knowledge and wisdom that, you know, that happily ever after, happily for now, is definitely needed for it to be considered a genre romance. And I still want that. I want that. Oh, so much. But there are times that I am okay with a darker themed romance where there is things that are morally gray, things that are morally unconscionable, that things that in real life I don't want to happen to characters, but then they end up getting there happily ever after and they move through a journey and things like that. I'm still getting my romance, even with all those dark themes. My little heart is dark. It's dark. I mean, that's all there's to it. So I'm okay with that. But that is one thing that has definitely changed. More of the kids that were on Booktube, that were in the community, are growing up and they are now reading romance, which means romance is now cool to read. Yay. Question number 4 is, what is your favorite Booktube memory? I have quite a few of them, but like a fellow booktuber, romance reader, said in her video, that just recently I have become friends with this group of women currently that is absolutely amazing. We're doing projects together and I found my clique. And yes, we're clique, we're group, we're people that don't necessarily read the same thing, which is amazing. I love that. I love that we do not read the same thing, but we are all open-minded to the point that we're able to read each other's things. So my favorite moment was the last couple of months. We've had a couple live shows where we have rotated. I had some friends, some romance friends of mine, come on to a live show for me. We did the light versus dark readathon. We did the romance takeover buddy read weekend, and we have some more things that are coming up and things like that. And I love that I am now part of an actual group of women that are open-minded, that don't necessarily need to read the same things to appreciate romance. So, mwah, love you guys, and, you know, I just appreciate that oh so much. Question number 5. What are some books that you were introduced to because of Booktube? And I would have to say, surprisingly, I didn't understand the whole Twilight sort of fandom that went on. Didn't understand it at all. Like, not at all. So a couple years ago, I finally sat down and watched or read the actual books. I had watched the movies and was intrigued by the movies, enjoyed the movies because they're short little snippets, and was like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm Team Edward. Why? I don't know, but I'm Team Edward. And then I finally read the books a couple years ago and was like, oh, I'm definitely Team Edward, because that's just weird that people would be Team Jacob. He's like 13 years old. Lusting over this 19-year-old. Yeah. Anyways, that's a totally different video, right? But I've read Twilight. I read The Martian. I would never, ever have read The Martian had it not been for Booktube. I was trying to, it was early on in my Booktube sort of, you know, creation, and I wanted to be part of the cool kid. I wanted to do what needed to be done so that I could try and get some views, right? And I read The Martian, and it took me 3 times to physically read it, but then I got it on audiobook and was like, mind blown, and was like, yes, I love this book, even though it is science fiction, even though it doesn't have necessarily a romance in it. Yes, so many yeses. Wow. And, you know, there's a good number of other books that I have read for challenges that I ended up enjoying. And that's sort of where my love for other genres has come from. I also really, really enjoy the fact that Booktube is very prevalent in showing you which books are now being movie adaptations. I never realized. I mean, I sort of knew in the back of my, 41-year-old brain that movies sometimes came from books, but I didn't realize how many, like, until 2 or 3 years ago. And then I was like, wow, that is a lot of books that are being made movies that change their sort of title, and then there's no connection until you get to the end of the movie, and it's like based off of this blah blah blah, an adaptation of this book, blah blah blah. And I'm like, ooh, huh, that's very interesting. Oh my goodness, I never would have read an Outlander book, a book like Outlander, for historical fiction, historical romance. Never would have read something like that. But I do, and I love it. I love it. Love it. I never would have picked up a Tessa Dare book had I not been part of the community because it's historical romance. But I do. I do. I love it. I love it. Question number 6 is, what is something that frustrates you about Booktube? Alrighty. So it's tea spilling time. Sorry, guys. I hate pulling this card. I hate bringing it up. This seems to be one of the main things that is always sort of controversial here on Booktube, is numbers and race. Oh my goodness. Let's be real, people. Be straight up real with you. If you're not Lily White or white passing in the Booktube community, you might as well just be okay with being a small booktuber. Period. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Because there are plenty of people that have been here as long, if not longer than me, that are Lily White, and they got big numbers. Or, on the flip side, people that have been here much less time than I have, and have quadruple, 5 times the amount of subscribers that I have. And we're not doing anything different except for the fact that I don't do snarky videos very often. I don't do ranty videos very often. I have to have a reason for a ranty video. And there are some books that get me on my rant. Get me going. Yes. Because it's not about being consistent. Because I've been consistent for well over 3 years. I'm going to say 3 years. Because the first 2 years of this journey on Booktube, I wasn't very consistent. I was like here and there. I was still kind of feeling my way around, getting my editing and stuff like that together. Didn't really have a setup as I do now, where I am constantly doing, things. For the last 3 years, I have participated in VEDA, which is Video Every Day, in April. And only the first year that I participated where I didn't do all 30 videos for the month of April. Last year and this year, I completed 30 videos for 30 days, released every single day of April. So the consistency is there for me. And, it's like the only thing that is different is the fact that I have dark skin, whereas others don't. I'm gonna be real with you. That frustrates me to no end. Have I gotten over that frustration? Hell yes. Because you know why? I have found my tribe of people that really gravitate to me. And it's not the people that are constantly commenting on my videos. It's not the people that are constantly liking my videos. It's the people that when I am going through something, when I am struggling, and I come and I put out a video where I leave my soul out there for you guys to see. Here it is. Here's what I'm going through. The people that contact me in my DMs just to say, I was thinking about you, those are my people. Those people came out in droves for me a couple weekends ago. And I had never felt so loved, so supported, and so sort of validated in the fact that my channel is speaking to people. Authors that I drop everything for, that I don't talk to on a constant basis, but they know that I read their books, they know that I love their books, reached out to me. It touched my soul. So the real deal is that no matter how big you are, and I find that I'm in my wisdom of age, I would beg to say that those bigger booktube channels that have, you know, double-digit thousands of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, they don't have the personal contact that I do with my just under 4,000 subscribers. Probably not. And it used to really, really frustrate me with those numbers, because it was like, I'm doing consistency. I've lighted up my face and made sure that you're able to see me. I got mics so that you can make sure that you hear me when I am talking to the camera. I make eye contact with my camera, so as if I am talking specifically to you about the books that I am talking about. I give you reviews that are 1 and 2 stars. I talk about the dumpster fires that I end up reading, and not just the books that I absolutely love, because I need you as my viewers, as my support system, as the people that I am trying to get through to read books. You guys have to have that personal sort of contact. And, you know, I had to let the numbers go. So if you're not frustrated and you can't find the good from others that are growing, you know, then I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, there's that. That's what frustrates me. Let's be real. It is about race. It is about age. That's another thing. Age. Because it's very, very interesting. Twitter can be a dumpster fire, and book Twitter is just, woo, it's crazy. I go over there and I look at what's going on. However, sometimes I don't chime in. But it's interesting that book Twitter will be like, oh, give me some people of color booktubers. I would need to, you know, spice up my subscription box, my subscription page, so I can watch some people of color like it's a cool thing to do. But at the same time, you're like, are you really going to watch those videos, or are you just going to let them play in the background? Are you really going to gain something from grabbing onto diversity, or are you just doing it to check the box? So yeah. Alrighty, off my soapbox. Question number 7 and the final question for this discussion video. What is my hope for the future of Booktube? I hope to continue to have a group of people that I get to come and talk to about books. I hope that I continue to get comments of people saying, wow, that book that you suggested to read or that book that you read and reviewed is now my favorite. I hope that more people will give the journey, emotional journey of romance a chance, which is going to happen. And not just young adult romance or new adult romance, adult romance. Allowing to see as a young person where your life could be with older characters. It's not all about the 24 to 25-year-olds. It's not about the 18-year-olds. It's about, those 40-year-olds. We have love too. We got love. We need love in our lives. We need to be set up and, then have some love, go through some things. Yes. So, I just hope that we continue to share. I do enjoy this platform because of those silent supporters, because of the vocal supporters, because of the people that watch my videos. I appreciate you guys. I really do enjoy this community. And as I said before, even though there are silent supporters, even though there are people that consistently just watch the videos, you guys are what makes this place run and are going to keep it around and keep it alive and things like that. Just being there. So, yeah. Okay. That's the tag. That's the discussion. I think it's more of a discussion video than anything. So, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you want to answer any of the questions down in the comment section because you don't have a channel or you don't have a platform or anything like that, please feel free. Let's talk. Let's discuss. That's what this video is supposed to be about. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Pass it along to your friends because I do videos 3 days a week now. Again, back to 3 days a week. Tuesdays, Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, my main day of Sunday. So make sure you're checking out those if you want to know the books that I read. All of them. Good, bad, ugly, all of them. I talk about them on the Sunday for the previous week. Yes, definitely. Alrighty. There is a recommendation form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Yeah, recommendations and feedback form. That's what I was going for. Recommendations, title of the book, author of the book, genre which you think it falls under, and your name so that I can shout you out if I end up doing a video for recommendations and things like that, or recommended books, or if I do a project or something like that. I can shout you out when I talk about it. Other than that, all my rambling, it's done. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.